welcome to this functional pelvic floor strengthening class. The purpose of this class is to help you create a strong, a coordinated and a reflexive pelvic floor. So when you're jumping and running and squatting and doing whatever you need to do in life, your pelvic floor works with you and you don't need to think, engage. Now the only thing you're going to need is a pillow or a bolster, so go and grab one of those now, and I really recommend you watch this video, which is going to explain how the pelvic floor works as a team, and it breaks down these exercises a little bit slower. So if this is, I suppose, a little bit too fast for you, go to that video first. Now, we're just going to talk about an engagement first, and there's different ways that people explain how to engage, but I like to think of it as an elevator because it's really important to lift and find that engagement, but it's equally as important to lower the elevator and fully release, because for the pelvic floor to be strong or reflexive, we don't just want a short, tight muscle, we need to be able to let it go as well. So as you're doing your pelvic floor exercises, it can be helpful to imagine that elevator going up and the elevator going down. The other point to note as well is it's not just a kind of one lift sensation, you also want to think of it like a zip. So a back to front, like you're trying to stop yourself passing wind and water. Imagine zipping back all the way to the front. So let's try one now, and we always engage on the exhale, and you're going to inhale, release. You can think about dropping the elevator, then exhale, you're going to lift and think about a back to front movement. Inhale, fully release. Now we're going to get going straight away, and we're going to start with the bolster, and I literally just want you to straddle it. And the point here is to basically give yourself a little bit of feedback, because we're sitting over the bolster, the pillow, and it helps you feel what you're doing a little bit better, and it helps you create those pathways between your brain and your pelvic floor. So close your eyes. We're going to do 10 rounds together of lifts and lowers. Fully release, feel the belly be soft. Then exhale, feel that lift, that zip, front to back. Inhale, release. Exhale, lift. Inhale, release. Exhale, zip it back to front. And release. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale, lift, zip it back to front. Release. Exhale, zip and lift. Fully release. Exhale. Trying to breathe in and out through the nose if you can. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, release. 2 more times. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. And inhale. If you found that hard, please know that it's okay. Lots of people do. It takes practice. Over time it will get easier. And maybe 5 is enough for you, and then you're going to work up to 10. Maybe 10 feels easy for you now and you can do a couple of rounds. But we're going to change position now, because this is all about a functional class and getting us into different positions. So you're just going to place your bolster or your pillow over to the side, and we're going to come into tabletop. So wrists underneath shoulders, knees underneath hips, no kind of hanging out here. Find your neutral spine. Press your hands firmly into the floor, press your knees down. Imagine you have some heavy weight on your back. And then just take a few breaths without doing anything, without changing anything. And then just try to notice if your belly moves or if you're clinging onto your core. And if you're clinging onto your core, release it. Don't cling onto it. Just let it, we want it to reflexively engage and engage as much as it needs when it needs. Okay, and then when you're ready, we're going to do that back to front, zip and lift movement. So breathe in, exhale, lift. Breathe in and lift. Keep going, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Lowering the elevator as you inhale. Exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Notice if you're doing anything like tucking your tailbone or squeezing your glutes, and try not to do that. Just keep the neutral spine. Just focus on the pelvic floor. Breathe in. Breathe out. Let's do 3 more. Breathing in. And lifting. Inhale, release. Exhale. Breathing in. And breathing out. Sit back on your heels for a moment. Fully let go of the pelvic floor. And simply breathe. Now perhaps that felt even harder, or maybe the first one felt easy and that one felt really difficult. Maybe you need to practice this one a little bit more, and that's okay. You're learning something about yourself during this class. We're going to change positions now. We're going to come into bridge pose. So come down onto your back, feet are hip distance apart, and they're about hands distance from your body. And so what we're going to do is we're going to exhale and lift the hips, feel that engagement of the pelvic floor, and then inhale, release, releasing the elevator down. So when you're ready, exhale, lift it up. We're not bringing this into a back bend. Think a nice long line of energy, knees to shoulders. Then inhale, slowly release. Exhale, lift. Lift the pelvic floor. Inhale, lower the elevator. Exhale. Some nice feedback can be to push your hands into your thighs as you lift. Inhale, that can help you engage the pelvic floor, engage the core. And release. Exhale, lift. Inhale, release. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. And inhale. 2 more. Exhale. Release. Last one. Exhale. And release. Again, maybe just bring your hands to your belly. Fully release the core, fully release the pelvic floor. Again, just take a moment to notice how that felt, difficulty level, before we move on to our last set. And for our last set, you're actually going to come up to stand, and we're going to do a squat. So we squat on the exhale, we feel that lift of the pelvic floor, that zipping front to back, and then we inhale, come up, and we release it. Doesn't matter how low down you squat, try and keep a nice neutral back. So if you feel yourself tucking at the bottom, you're not going to do that. You're going to keep your nice spine nice and neutral. So when you're ready, your toes slightly turned out, maybe feet hip distance, or maybe slightly wider if that feels better for you. Exhale, lift. Inhale, lower the elevator. Exhale, lift. Inhale, lower. Exhale. Lift. Exhale. Lift, release. Sit it back. Lift it up. 5 more. Lift. Release. Make sure you're releasing. Exhale, zip it up. Inhale, release. Zip. Release. Zip. Release. Zip. Release. Last one. Zip. Release. Okay. We're going to end this class with one long hold. You can do it in any of the positions you've done it. I'm just going to do it in a seated position. You can grab your bolster, sit over it. And as you hold, you are going to continue to breathe naturally. So you keep that lifted position. And I'm going to do it for around 10 seconds, but notice if that feels really hard for you and maybe how long you can hold it for before the elevator starts to drop, and you can work on that number. So when you're ready, take a breath in to prepare. Exhale, lift. Keep it lifted as you breathe. Keep it lifted. 3, 2, 1. And release. Now we're all going to end this class with a moment of restoration for the core. So we're going to come into child's pose. If you don't want child's pose, you can just come into a seated position. But child's pose can be a really nice way to let go. Maybe you make a little pillow with your hands. And as you breathe in, I want you to imagine you're breathing your sitting bones apart. And you're really feeling that lengthening of the pelvic floor. As you exhale, you're not trying to lift at all. Maybe you feel yourself melting down into the mat, letting go of any tension you don't need. So exhale, release down, and inhale. Imagine those sitting bones opening, that pelvic floor lengthening. 3 more times just like that. Exhale and inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. And inhale. And release. Slowly bring yourself up to a seated position if you're not there already. Thank you so much for practicing with me. You might want to do this video through again if you found it helpful. And doing it 3 to 4 times a week could be helpful if you're feeling your pelvic floor needs a little bit of work. And if you have any questions, please just put it down in the comments. I'd love to speak to you, and I'll see you on the mat again soon.